Hello, ladies and G's, boys and girls. Welcome back to another episode of Rare Sightings with your cameraman, Van Dyke Mike, your sound man, Mitch Hennessy, and me, your host, Safari Thunder. Now, today, in attempts to stay physically fit, in shape, and healthy, I jumped on the bike and rode down to one of the more popular areas in Brooklyn, Canarsie Pier. Now, as I approached the beach, I came across this bugger here. Take a look at him. Look at him go. I almost didn't notice him. He was blended so well in with the surrounding territory and all of the foliage that was there. Now this right here is known as the Thesprotia graminis, commonly known as the American grass mantis or grass-like mantis. And you can clearly see why he has that name. He looks like a blade of grass. Almost stepped on him, I did. Now, this species of praying mantis is native to the southern United States, and it is found in and around the Florida and Georgia areas typically, usually. But right here you can clearly see he's made his way through some sort of transportation, I don't know, ship, boat, person maybe, thought he was a pet and let him loose. One way or another, he's here now. Wow, I didn't even know they had him. This guy here, clearly he's seen better days. Yeah, I think he's done counted his last sheep, counted his last stars. It's over. But it's a loss for him, but a gain for us. Now I flipped him over so you can get a look at the other side of his shell. Typically, in nature, when most people come upon these things, these are called horseshoe crabs. And you could probably tell why they're called horseshoes, because the shape is so similar, it's almost identical to that of a horseshoe. It's a horseshoe crab. This guy here, he was quite a big fellow. Now, I came upon him, I thought I'd throw him on record and get a bit of footage of him so you guys could get a close look at what they look like. You know, they're all about out in the Jamaica Bay, in the Atlantic Ocean, here in southern North America. Now, as I was making my rounds down the shoreline, I came across a couple of locals tossing a net about. I was intrigued off of the bat. Now, I didn't want to spend too much time filming everything, talking about everything that we had just witnessed too long, and possibly blow my high and possibly blow yours. And we don't want to do those type of things. You know, the gas is quite expensive nowadays. You know what I mean? So we don't want to waste any of that. Enough of that tidbits. Now, as I stayed coming down the shoreline, I noticed a couple of locals throwing a net about. I'm wondering, what could they possibly be fishing for? Now, you know, this area is quite popular for fishing, crabbing, and kiting, and various other things the locals come out to do. I have seen some people barbecuing and things. I didn't know that shortly, not far from where we typically do all those things, that people were out throwing a net and gathering fish. I approached them and I had to inquire, what's going on? And as you can see, these are not large fish, but you know, what you can make up for in size, you could make up for in numbers. Or rather, what you lack in size, you could make up for. Maybe I shouldn't have smoked that spliff before I started this segment, but we're in it now, and we're gonna keep it going. Keep on rolling. Let's go, Van Dyke Mike. Now,
Take a look before
as I was inquiring with the locals what were going on, they were letting me know that you know,
What kind of fish?
this right here, these small fish, they gather them up, they throw the net and they
Escafish?
gather up these small fish. They get as many as they can and they take them home and they prepare a dish. I never heard of people, now we've heard of smaller fish, minnows and sardines. I don't know what exactly type of fish these are, but the dish that they tell me that they make is called ceviche. Ceviche. You know, it's spelled, pronounced a few
crab?
different ways depending on where you're from. But typically, the dish is made from fresh raw fish, cured in fresh citrus juices, and most commonly lemon or lime, spiced with ají, or chili peppers, or some other seasonings including chopped onions, salt, coriander, and such, you know, typically to the taste of the individuals preparing the meal. I was blown. My mind was blown. I had no idea that, you know, something like this was, you know, I've heard of raw fish and raw shrimp and sushi and things of that, and had just recently had a dish prepared. It was sort of a ceviche shrimp. I was with a friend, and they had told me, you know, that I had heard from my mother back in the days not to, you know, typically a lot of people clean their poultry and fish with a bit of citrus and lime and lemon. And I was told by my mother that if you leave it in there too long, it could possibly cook the product, cook the meat, the poultry and such. I was befuddled, dumbfounded. I didn't know exactly what she meant until recently when it was explained to me. Leaving it in the lemon juice and citrus, it activates and it also cooks. It causes a cooking action to cook. Now, you see some of the they're strewn about there. You see a bit of the fish they had gotten away. They're not worried about it. No one's really worried about it. Who's gonna pick up these fish one by one? But what I do know, something's gonna come and get them, because you know all the typical usual suspects of the beach. Yo, seagulls and such, they're all about. Oh, and speaking of usual suspects, we run into this bugger. He definitely looked like he's seen better days. This is just small crab. Some of the crabs that some of the guys over at the pier and the dock might normally be fishing for. This guy, he's seen better days, but he's still scrambling about. He's missing one of his larger claws, but he's not a quitter. He's still standing and he's still giving it a go. Now, all about and all around him, you see smaller snails in their shells. We don't typically see them in the raw nature like that all the time, but you know the name of the show, Rare Sightings, and this was another rare occasion where you were privy to witness some things that people don't normally see. This was very rare indeed.